meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight, there will be a vote to enter executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If an open meeting may have an detrimental, bring my glasses, effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. The committee will not return to open session and will adjourn from executive session. There will be no agenda adjustments this evening, and the meeting is being audio taped.
To Mr. Chairman, that your script requests to ask for public comment.
Are there any public comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Approve the minutes. I ask for a motion to approve the June school committee meeting. Motion made by Situate. Second by Cohasset. Is there any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your package, you have the monthly report for the end of June. The preliminary numbers, again, everything's moving target here as we close out the year. On the cover page, we have a little brochure regarding the summer camps that are going on here at the school. A lot of little kids running around. I know that Janine in our office, her son attended the horticultural camp and was fascinated and had a wonderful time. So I think the graphics camp is going on right now.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of busy little kids running around the offices, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Our financial position through the end of June, our cash balances overall just a shade under $8 million at $7,996,466. OPEB has about $831,000 in it. So again, strong financial shape. The June financial statement for revenues, we did receive the Abington finally.
Excuse me?
The Abington assessment that was a little bit late. They actually sent us a check that was lost in the mail somewhere. Mr. Petrozelli is not here, so we can't make any comments about the post office, but there's been some problems with the mail recently here at the school with sending some stuff up. Down the bottom, we have investment income. We have our regular Chapter 78, and we did receive our second payment of our regional transportation for $351,168. Overall revenue for the month of about $1,046,882. The last page has the expenses. Again, we expended $2.5 million so far in the month of June. A lot of end of the year spending that was going on prior to the amendments, the recommendations that are going to be made tonight. Overall, the spending for the year is about a little over $13 million, which is about $1.3 million less than the budgeted number. So again, we're able to maintain costs in the COVID situation. With Tom and the administrators managing the budget very well, so from their spending aspects. So overall, we're in great shape.
Yeah, I have a question on Jim. Our electric Situate come back on free power?
No, we manipulate that percentage because what had happened was that we were running up big credits with National Grid, so we were at 25% of the buying power, our maximum. We dropped it down to 15% because we had 37,000 in credits from National Grid that were, so we had the lowest Situate's credits and up increase. So we had to balance it off. So, and we knew that there was going to be a lot of savings. So even though there's a budgetary difference there, we had taken some money out of that line item earlier in the year. But the Situate solar field is still going very good. So,
Still viable.
yeah, still a great situation for us. So.
On that note, when we get back to in school attendance, we're going to go back to percentages that we had before. as far as electricity use, you get with kids here now, coming back.
Yeah, well, we usually make an adjustment once a year, depending upon, because the national grid rates will fluctuate at various times. So we're paying 9.5 cents in Situate for a kilowatt hour versus 14 to 17 cents depending upon
I
that.
get 9.9.
Yeah, so again, it's something that fluctuates and we just manage it as much best as we can to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck. So,
Could I have a motion for the, to approve the treasurer's report?
Second,
Noel, Whitman, any discussion on the treasurer's report? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Budget transfers, there's a sheet of budget transfers, again, as spending comes through, Tom maintains and keeps the department heads to their line items for the year as they spend money, and then as we identify savings, people are released and allowed to spend money in various categories. So the transfer sheet, adding money to the electricity budget, the repairs budget, the professional fees, people transportation, other books and instruction, shop supplies and dues and subscriptions, totaling $147,500. We'll increase those budgeted numbers, and we kept taking it out of the identified savings from our health insurance line item.
I'll make a motion that we accept them as presented in the document.
Okay, Situate, second. Any discussion on the budget transfers? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Surplus revenue recommendations.
Chairman, every year we come to the July meeting with, we've identified savings in the budget on the line items for our, from our spending. We've also identified savings or additional revenue that was not budgeted. So between a little bit more revenue than expected, plus the savings of the revenue side, of the expense side, we have a surplus that we now present to you for allocating that surplus for current and future needs. Motion number one, which I will read, and we'll just get a motion in a second. It's preliminary. We collect money every year for non-resident tuition, and now we vote to apply it to the fiscal 22 budget. So it is hereby moved to encumber $1,487,382.26 of the 2020-2021 non-resident tuition in order to reduce the 2021-2022 assessments to the district towns.
So move. Situate,
second.
Whitman, any discussion?
Tom, yeah, you're gonna be letting the towns know the reduction in their assessments? Or is it gonna?
Once we have, well, their assessments are,
The way we communicate that, Dan, is when we present them in the winter, actually.
Okay, yeah,
Part of that budget sheet Jim puts together shows the anticipated offset, and now this is a more spread down number. So this information was predictable.
okay,
Yeah.
all right,
yeah, when each town, when they voted, when they positively approved our budget,
Right.
this number was included in that number that they approved.
okay, that's right.
Motion number two is to hereby move to credit $59,293 to surplus revenue for warrants payable from the 2019-2020 budget of $59,293.
I'll make that motion.
Whitman, Situate,
That one's kind of high this year, isn't it?
Yeah, what happened, again, every year we have warrants payable. What happens, again, not to bore people with the accounting lingo. We know right today, on July 7th, on July 21st, that we have a lot of bills that are in the pipeline. And we put them in warrants payable, and they're supposed, jobs are supposed to be finished and materials are supposed to be finalized. Every year, something falls through the cracks where we decide we reject a vendor, we find someone else to buy something from. So this $59,000 represents money we were gonna, it was a warrants payable last year, but we never ended up paying the money. So every number, there's about 9 vendors in there, and everyone has a story as to why we didn't buy the stuff that we thought we were gonna buy last
Okay,
June 30th.
a valid reason.
Motion number 3.
So, Jim,
you want to vote on each one?
Yeah, each one separately.
Okay, let's go back to number one. We had discussion on that, all in favor of motion number one?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion two. Any discussion on it? No. Motion by Rockland,
I'll second.
Whitman, any discussion on two? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion number 3 is hereby moved to debit $24,238 in surplus revenue for accrued salaries from the 2019-2020 budget.
So moved.
Situate, Cohasset?
Yeah.
Any discussion on motion 3? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
Motion 4 is hereby moved to encumber $398,000 from surplus revenue for buildings, grounds, equipment, and supplies per the recommendation of the superintendent director.
Motion by Rockland,
Second.
second by Whitman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Motion number 5 is hereby moved to encumber $740,000 from surplus revenue for costs related to the design, renovation, and construction costs identified in the 2018 facilities master plan.
So moved.
Situate,
Second.
Whitman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries.
Motion number 6, it's hereby moved to transfer $134,151 from surplus regional transportation to the regional transportation fund.
Is that different than you have printed?
Yeah, the number in the middle is off, so the new number, the 134,151 is the number that's on the far right hand side.
Okay.
So-
I'll
And
make
this
the
is the
motion.
excess regional transportation money that we received from the state.
I'll make the
No,
motion.
Situate. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Motion 7 is hereby moved to encumber $103,849 from surplus revenue for bus lease costs.
Situate.
Second.
Whitman. Trying to give another one to go after. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And motion number 8 is hereby moved to transfer $80,000 from surplus revenue to the school lunch enterprise fund to cover COVID-19 related revenue decreases.
Motion by Rockland,
Second.
Cohasset. Any discussion?
Yes, question. Yeah, you're gonna be putting that in, to the towns to possibly get reimbursed because it's COVID related.
No, these, COVID will pay for COVID-related expenses, they'll reimburse us with. This has to do with revenue. The fact that we didn't have all the kids in the building to buy lunch, we still had our overhead costs related to the lunch program. That's what this is for. So
Okay.
there will be some reimbursement requests through the lunch program for the towns.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
Speaking of COVID-related expenses, Janine wrapped up all of our COVID spending through June 30th. We buttoned it up the other day. Invoices will be sent to the member towns within the next few days for their share of our 5th round of invoicing for our costs. So it's about $113,000 this round of funding. So.
Great pleasure, Jim the gavel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a point in the year where it's annual reorganization. Again, as written up in our bylaws, the process of reorganization is that we take nominations from the floor for chairman. Nominations are made and seconded. Once we have one nomination, we then open the floor again for a second and then a third nomination. Once the nomination is placed on the floor, voting is, we proceed with the voting, and the top 2 candidates in the first round of voting move forward to the final voting process, at which point those 2 candidates are placed before we vote, and then we vote again. The same process will be done with vice chair. And we'll go from there. So at this point, I would open the floor for nominations for chairman.
Rob, David? Anna?
Okay, you have a second? Okay, second, Situate. Thank you. Any more nominations for chairman? Okay. No more nominations for chairman? I believe that, Mr. Hayward, you are. Make a motion, we have a motion and for Mr. Hayward in a second.
Cast that vote.
Yes.
Cast that.
Mr. Mahoney, cast that vote for Mr. Hayward. Thank you.
Thank you for the confidence, everyone. Hopefully we'll have a better year than last year.
Oh,
Get it back.
I have to, wanted to be, wanted to be
Don't you want to put the vice chair too?
You're gonna have a post-election party?
Yeah.
I got water.
Our previous conversation, you'll know where it's gonna be.
At this point, the floor is open for nominations for vice chairman.
I'll nominate Mahoney for Ron.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second for Bob Mahoney. Okay, that being done, do we have any other more nominations for vice chairman? Hearing none, we'll close the nomination process. We have a motion, a second for Bob Mahoney as vice chairman.
I'll make that.
Maybe make that vote.
Yes, I will.
Okay, very good. Thank you, gentlemen, for your
Thank you very much for the confidence. Thank you.
Same place I am.
No, mine will be a lot better.
No doubt in my mind. Okay, subcommittees, there are no subcommittee reports tonight. And that brings us to the superintendent director, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brief report tonight. First, I want to say thanks to Jim and to Tricia and Janine. They've really done a great job this year. All the COVID reports, all the accounting in some extraordinary circumstances has really been helpful to me. And I know we all appreciate it, that we're in a strong position going into this next fiscal year. In terms of happenings around the building, we have our most prominent project would be our window project, which probably won't get started until about the third week of August. It will go into the school year, but it will not have an impact as the company will transition to working second shift. And that is something that we're having regular meetings with our design team, the contractor, and our project manager. We're also continuing to work around the building as we return classrooms to some version of normal, and making some renovations to our lecture hall. As you're not, you're all familiar with our space crunch, and so we're going to be making more multi-purpose use of our lecture hall to allow for our library media specialist to be able to use that and to have us use it more often. It's really the last piece of real estate we have in this building that might generally go underutilized. So it will still house typical lecture hall seating, but we've created some kind of mezzanine seating at the top, which will allow for small group work that is necessary. So we're constructing that. I'll give you further updates as the summer goes along, but by all accounts, Bob Woolford and the crew are doing a great job in terms of the building as we would expect at this midpoint. In terms of other activities, as Jim rightfully pointed out, very happy we had some strong turnout for some grade 6, 7, 8 students participating in some summer camps. We'll have some parent meetings this summer. Most notably, will be a fall athlete parent meeting. We'll do that remotely in the second week of August. So while it has been an extraordinary year that we've ended, we're taking all the steps to open the year with a full regular fall season for sports. And we open school on, as you know, on August 31st. And the only administrator update that I would pass along is really the next item on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Would be the memo that Sandy has provided you regarding only a handful of adjustments to our student handbook. So I'd be looking for a motion to accept those adjustments.
So,
Situate,
Second.
Cohasset. Let me turn the page. Any discussion on this handbook revisions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all.
Warrants.
Pleasure, I get to read them this month. Warrants 25, 25A, 26, 26A, 27, and 27X. Total $1,285,564.84. Second.
Second Situate, any discussion on the warrants? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carried. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Any requests for action?
And just, yeah, I'll use that. I remind, personally, I'd like to have Tom go to the Martha meeting and put in person request for more aid for us.
Yeah.
And to work with our, not only our elected representatives locally, but with the two or three senators we have that have more pull on cash than our representatives.
You may have, if I could just expand on that, so you may have seen some recent media coverage of some bills that are getting some attention in the legislature. And several of them do focus on an area that's important to all of us, which would be direct state funding for brick and mortar improvements, which is, while we appreciate all of the other attention that our schools receive, we know that, especially after getting our town support on a debt authorization at the local level, it would be great to have our legislative delegation rally around some of these bills that could become part of a supplemental budget or part of that COVID federal money that's starting to trickle down. So we'll definitely stay tuned on that, and I will be reaching out to our legislative delegation. I'm also hopeful that at the Mass Association of Vocational Administrator summer meeting that we have, that there'll be a statewide strategy to mobilize, because it's not just us, certainly, but we know what our needs are, but they are collective statewide. Thank you.
Tom, on that note, some of the monies that are around are used for water and sewer related issues. So whether or not we point towards it being COVID related, I don't know. But it's something to look at. Also,
You're right.
may want, I don't know if Allison Sullivan has walked through this building, but we may want to get some of our state reps and Congress people and walk through the building again and show exactly, what we need and what we're trying to do. Maybe we can get them to support us, especially with town meetings that support it.
I agree, Dan, and I think that on the other side of the pandemic and having more access to the building, I think it would be a good refresher for people to see the popularity of the demand, the space crunch, and let them be able to see it. Certainly, there's no substitute for being boots on the ground to see it.
Yeah, it'd be good, that Ken brought up, thank you, that if we could do it while classes are in session, especially the academic side, to
Certainly,
see how we've got it in the sardine can.
absolutely.
There's a lot of things they should see. The only other thing I have, if anybody has any interest in any committees, please contact me or Tom, and we'll get together in either August or September.
That's what we typically do.
Typically do that. See what's out there, what openings we have.
Right, when are we going to nominate a representative to go to conference on the page?
You're it.
We have historically placed that on our September agenda, but I see no reason why it couldn't be on the next agenda.
Oh, whatever, I don't know.
I get out of the gallery, you're it.
I've been doing it for 10, 12 years.
I know that.
Whoops.
I can't miss you. I can't do that.
You can book your tea time now, dear.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
Okay. Motion to go into executive session.
Second,
Second by Whitman. See, he's still on.
Not to reconvene.
Not to reconvene. I'll get there. And no discussion. And
we need a roll
call vote. Rockland.
Yes. Situate, yes.
Hanover, yes. Cohasset.
Yes.
No, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We are now in executive session and we
My
are
God,
not
not really,
reconvening Right.
until he pushes the button.